I got to play this. So, remember the radio show that killed the broad with the water drinking contest?
The water drinking contest until the woman dies contest.
So, because we've been in trouble over the years, they're always searching us out to be the experts.
Yeah. That's us.
And they got Ant and I on MSNBC, and this was the last time we were called. The last time.
I don't even remember what we said or did.
We just blew it up. We decided to be complete a-holes.
You know what it was? We actually had a talk about this, too, before we went on. We're like, should we be... I go, do you really want to be the guys... When every guy we've watched that has been in radio has commented on our situation,
right?
We always look at the TV and go, fuck this asshole. Who are you to, talk about our situation, pontificate, holier-than-thou attitude kind of a thing? It's like, screw you. So before we made the call, we were like, let's just totally douche this interview and be idiots and ruin it.
And this is how it went
down. And that's what we did.
Oh, yeah. Haven't been called since.
Opie and Anthony are nationally syndicated radio hosts, also on XM satellite radio, two of the best known in the business. They're joining us now on the phone. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us, Allison.
Hey, Opie, so as two people who do provocative radio for a living, what did you think when you first heard this story about this woman dying from drinking that much water during this stunt?
Well, obviously I feel bad for Jennifer and her family, but I also feel bad for the show because they're just kind of a wacky morning show. They're not really shock jocks or edgy. They were just trying to have a little fun, and it blew up kind of fun.
That's terrible. I'm sorry. I feel bad.
Anthony, what did you think when you first heard this?
It was awful. These poor kids of the mother are going to be asked for the rest of their life. How did your parents die? Or your parent die, and they're going to have to come up with this ridiculous story of, a radio stunt.
I forgot. Ed decided to do
Steve
lines.
Yes. Well, that was. Now I remember. I was trying to get in as many Steve lines as possible. That's when we were playing.
That's terrible. I'm sorry.
That's terrible. I'm sorry.
How did your parents die?
I forgot. That's the tack I was taking. Was trying to get in as many Steve lines.
I think there's a clip where panic sets in. Allison's like, "Oh my God, what are these guys doing to me?"
Yeah, I was listening to you guys this morning, and you played a clip from this show, and one of the guys was like, "Hey, she signed a release." Does that she signed a release excuse hold in your opinion?
No, I think legally it might hold, but so they don't get arrested. But I think a civil case will be brought up, and it reminds me, it was a case years ago, back in '83. A couple of disc jockeys, I think it was Ramon and Francis in the morning. They had a staff member shove marshmallows in his mouth, and he choked wearing a bunny suit. It was awful, tragic. The Nagel family's never recovered from that, and I remember they were taken right off the air.
What an asshole!
It was so obvious that you had all these facts. Yeah. Ramon and Francis, and then you knew it was the Nagel family. You knew the outfit.
And it's back in the 80s.
Yeah, in the 80s, 83.
The Nagel family.
It was very funny.
This was all based on stuff we were doing on the show, obviously, at the time.
Yeah. Oh,
Eric
man.
was doing the chubby bunny in the bunny suit.
We are tools.
And then finally.
So, Opie,
it happened before.
It has. Opie, do you think this is going to bring any industry-wide changes, or is this just going to be one of these?
I got to, defend myself here, because you're going to hear me just be like, because I can't believe Anthony's doing what he's doing. And I'm laughing in my head so effing hard.
I heard you.
And I was caught off guard. I didn't even, this is what happened. I was laughing so hard in my head, and I was covering my cell phone, that I didn't know what she asked me, and I knew I had to say something.
I heard you going like a couple of times while I was doing it. I heard you laughing, and then I realized, I'm like, oh my God, Opie doesn't know what he was just asked.
So you're about to hear me just start talking because I knew I had to say something.
Or is this just going to be one of these sad stories that sort of fades from the headlines eventually?
No, I think the boss is gonna, kind of pretty much wreck it for everybody else. I mean, the bosses in radio in general are beyond scared as it is, and now that we officially have killed the listener out there, I think you're going to hear a lot of really, really boring radio. No one's going to really try to go to the edge or do anything edgy.
Well, Anthony,
didn't a management maybe say, hey, did you talk to a doctor about this or something, and maybe get some confirmation if this is dangerous or not?
So, Anthony, you're throwing it up the food chain a little bit, that management maybe should get involved or maybe should be held accountable.
Yeah, maybe you say, did you talk to your doctor about this or something? Maybe management should have looked into this and seen if it was a little more dangerous than they thought.
Opie and Anthony, we really thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you.
Allison.
That's funny.
Oh, what a douche.
You made a good recovery, though. You started stammering, but then your point was fine with the radio boss.
Yeah. Well, because I was like, yeah, whatever. But she used to be a friend of ours.
Yeah,
we haven't heard from her since.
That was an old Psycho Mark reference there.
Yeah.
Did you talk to your doctor?